What's happening, people? It's another episode of the Giants Guys. And thanks for tuning in. We're brought to you by Astro Flav, new age supplement company, Jersey Strong, with 5 locations. So if you are a gym rat, you love CrossFit, you banging plates, you're looking for some really good shakes that don't taste like crap, you're looking for maybe a meal replacement, they've got pretty much everything under the sun. Definitely check out astroflave.com. I have a 10% discount for you folks. So when you're ordering, just drop in NY Giants Rush and they'll give you 10% off. So thanks to the Astroflave folks. Actually, the peanut butter cup is my favorite, just for the record. All right, gentlemen, I am, or I should say, everyone out there, thanks for listening to another episode of Giants Guys. I've got Nikki coming in a couple minutes to do some fantasy. I apologize for the late start. We had a power outage here in South Jersey, so I had to let everything boot back up. So I apologize for being late. Lots to talk about. Chris is going to be here in a couple minutes too, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Bengals, what we saw. We're going to talk about cuts. We're going to talk about fantasy and some of the observations that we have. The interesting thing that, in Giants land right now is there were supposed to be a ton of cuts. Like, you were looking for 6 guys to get cut, and this is what happened. And I'll read it off to you just because I don't know, if you were working all day long and you weren't paying attention what goes on. Beavers, which unbelievable. I mean, listen, we could talk about the turf till we're blue in the face, and we will touch on it. We will touch on the turf, but losing Beavers it's a big blow. So I got Nikki here. I see her in the back. I'm gonna pop her on. Let's get her in here. Bang, Nikki.
Hi.
What's happening, girlfriend?
What's up? How are you?
Good. So I was just, I apologize for being a bit late. We had a little power outage here, so we're up and running. I'm waiting on Chris to come in here, and we are live. Yeah. So I was just talking about starting to show off with the roster moves that happened today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the biggest ones, of course, is that Beavers tears his ACL and he's out for the year. How about that?
That really sucks. He was doing so good in camp. Like, I was pulling for him, and yeah, my heart broke for him a little bit. And Brian Dable said in his press conference yesterday, he always approaches that with empathy, right? And he has tremendous respect for players and what they put their body through. But he felt that. And he said, especially for guys that are having a really good camp, it's just, he tries to be there for them and be as supportive as he can. So that was sad to see.
Yeah, especially the fact that, we've really needed a dynamic linebacker. I was pretty sure he was going to step in for Crowder and take that spot. He's good in space. He definitely was getting better. He wasn't known in college as a tackler, but he did have a great camp. So Beavers goes to the IR, and we can basically get into the turf surface stuff in a minute. So we'll because it's been talked about over and over, since last night, and there's a lot of angles and a lot of things to unpack, which we will. Ricky Seals-Jones and Miller went to IR. Gates and Pert, which I thought Pert would have been maybe an injury settlement and they would have let him go, but Pert and Gates went to PUP. So that means that a minimum they're out for the first 4 games. And that's it. Nobody got cut today. So, the roster moves are basically, back to where, and I can't, is it making you crazy that we're starting another year with all these injuries again?
Yes, I'm so sick of it. I am so sick of it. What is this, like year 6 that we're doing this? Year 5? It's just... Yeah. It's so annoying, right? I hold my breath every time I'm watching a play. It's like, oh my God, now what? Who's going down? Thank God Thibodeau looks, I know they said he's getting a second opinion, but thank God it didn't look too serious.
So, Thibodeau will be Kayvon Thibodeau is on the way to see Dr. Andrews. As everybody knows, he is the knee specialist. He is the orthopod that a lot of, professional athletes go see. Basketball players, football players, baseball players, they all go see Dr. Andrews. So I know he's going there for a second opinion, which I'm almost like, I don't really know why he needs a second opinion, because the only other thing they could tell him is that he needs surgery, right? Like, they're not going to tell him, hey, you're okay.
Hey, you're good.
Yeah. Like, so like, I think the only thing a second opinion, I mean, I guess you need a second opinion, but if you don't really, if you don't think the Giants doctors are going to give you the right advice, I don't know. I don't know why you get a second opinion, because unless he's experiencing, some buckling in the knee or so forth. But let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
So you're watching the game, and Thibodeau gets a cut block below the knees, and the world is on fire that it was a dirty play. It's not a dirty play, okay? Like, I'm not going to go off on a tangent like Mark Schlereth did today, but it's not, I don't know. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. Right. But I would love for you to go off on a tangent. Why not?
Yeah, Mark Schlereth went off on a tangent today, and he doesn't really love Giants or Giants fans anyway.
No, he doesn't.
But here's the thing that people need to understand. It's a legal play. It's in the playbook. It's endorsed by the NFL. It is a legal play to block below the waist. What did happen is Thibodeau didn't know how to defend it. He literally left his knee there to be cut out. And they coach and teach linebackers how to avoid getting cut blocked. When you see it in the combine all the time, when they go through bags and they bend down and they push their hands on the bag, and then they go to the next bag and they push their hands down in the bag. That is how they teach preventing cut blocks, where you give space back, you push down. He went sideways, like he didn't know what to do. He left his knee right there to be cut blocked. It's a legal block. And you can say it shouldn't be. It doesn't matter. It's a legal block. It's just like there are certain things that get taken out of the game. Defense, shots on the head to the QB, defenseless receiver cuts taken out of the game, head slaps cut out of the game, wedges on special teams got taken out of the game. Cut blocks are still in the game. Yeah. So you folks need to just stop like saying that it's dirty. Like it's how is it dirty if it's a legal play? Like, I don't want to hear this. You got to man up, do this, do that. No, the man's job was to cut block the end, and he did his job. And I'm sorry. I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah.
But he didn't know how to defend the play. He's a rookie. Maybe they didn't teach him in Oregon. Maybe they thought he knew, but he turned his body sideways and left his entire body there to be cut. So it's a hard lesson to learn.
Yeah, it is. And he learned. You're going to learn today. He definitely learned. But it is legal, right? Everybody's losing their collective minds, but it is legal. So, whether you agree with it or not, he was allowed to do it.
Yeah, rules are rules. And I don't want to hear, again, it's still football. Like, can we stop making the game, I was going to say something like probably un-PC and I stopped myself.
Oh.
But like, it's still football, people. Like, I'm coaching 8th grade football right now. Like, we're teaching them we tell them it's a violent game. Yeah. Hard work is not a punishment. You have to work hard. And, and it is about physicality. And that is part of the game. So until they take it out, everybody needs to like get off their high horse and like, that player should be thrown out.
I know. He should just be thrown out of the league. Like, calm down. Out. Everybody just like take a beat.
Yeah. So
calm down.
So we didn't get any cuts today. We had to get down to 80. Shep is not going on PUP, which is a good sign that we may see Shep sooner than later, because PUP is 4 games. So we may see Shep by October 1st, October 10th, somewhere in there. We may see Shep. He's already been working a lot, at the practice field. So that's also cool to see. The Pert and Gates thing is, I knew Gates has been trying to come back because Richie Soybert had that injury and they really worked with him to get him back. The Pert thing, I thought he was going to get cut. I thought he was going to be a casualty.
Yeah, I think we all thought that.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of a surprise because he
Mhm.
hasn't panned out.
No.
Now let's talk a little bit about Beavers in the turf. So I've talked to Paul Dottino and I've talked to a couple people. The turf people passes the NFL inspection every year. Like, so there are 32 teams in the NFL. There are only 4 teams in the NFL that use the turf that's in Giant Stadium. The 4 teams are, of course, the Jets and the Giants, and then it is Cincinnati and Minnesota. So, like, as you alluded to a couple minutes ago, the Giants have literally lead the league in injuries a handful of times. How can it be the turf? But we keep having these injuries. So I brought up a point of in the 80s and the 90s, guys used to wear Nikki. They used to wear turf shoes. And, it was, the concrete, the turf was more of an AstroTurf. It was harder surface. You were almost wearing like a basketball sneaker, They now wear cleats on turf. Yep. They're a shorter turf cleat. But here's my philosophy. If you look at that Beavers injury, he's got a lot of guys on his back. He's being pushed around, but his foot looks locked in. And I kind of wonder if, these new surfaces, because you can dig down in them, if your leg gets locked in where maybe if it's grass or a different type of turf, maybe that wouldn't happen.
So that absolutely does happen. I remember last year, was it the Jets game where like all the Jets got hurt or something? I feel like, wasn't it I forget what game it was. It was last year, 2 years ago. Everybody was getting hurt, right? And because in real life, what I do for a living is within this industry. So the problem is the cleat gets stuck. Your foot doesn't always release in that type of turf. So that is part of the issue. And I do know this is the last year for the contract. So maybe things will change a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's 88% of the NFL uses a different type of turf, and I'm sure there's a reason why, you know what I mean? So, you got this multi-billion dollar franchise using a turf, that's not performing. So we're hoping that they could do something to change that, because we do have a lot of ACLs, a lot of soft tissue injuries, and you're asking yourself, like, why us? Now, the other thing is that the Giant Stadium, or MetLife Stadium, is also a multi-purpose stadium. They put concerts in there and they put other stuff in there. So the field turf that they use may be in there because it's a multi-purpose stadium. Mm-hmm. Two football teams, concerts, that kind of stuff. So it might be that they chose that turf because it's multi-purpose.
Yeah, I mean, probably, but like you said, you raise a good point. I mean, it's obvious, and that does happen with this turf. A cleat gets stuck. You can't always release in the time that you want to. So I don't know if they'll make a change, but this is the last year for the contract. So I actually know the people who do the field. So it is the last year.
Yeah, and I'm, like I said, I'm glad that, of course, Thibodeau is going to be okay. But his was more of a, like I said, it had nothing to do with the turf, but Beavers was, like, to me, I think he was going to win the starting job. So I'm kind of bummed out for that, because I'm not Crowder's a tweener. He's just not big enough to make that impact we need next to Blake. So, I think I see Chris Nails is in the back. Let me see if I can punch him up here and get him in. And we apologize. You're watching another episode of the Giants Guys. We're usually live at 8:00, have been for years, but I had a power outage, so it took me a little while to boot everything back up. Let me get Chris up in here. Chris!
Yay!
Hey, Craig. Hey, Nikki.
Hey.
Everybody.
So, I already apologized to everybody. That was my fault. Had a little hiccup. So, what we did was we covered, and I'm going to get your opinion on it.
And Craig, I was listening in the car, so yeah.
Oh.
Yep. All good.
See that?
The team player right there.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Even the Rush guys listen.
That's right.
So let's start off with this, Chris. What's your opinion on the moves that they made for roster-wise? Because nobody really got cut.
Yeah, I think the Shep thing's a great indication that he's going to be back sooner than later. Obviously, he's going to be back early September. With Beavers, we already know what was going to happen there. Seals Jones been basically invisible the whole training camp, and Andre Miller went on IR. Haven't heard much from him either. So Pert and Gates, that's good. We know Gates wasn't put on IR. That gives you a good indication during the season he's gonna probably come back at some point.
Yeah, I thought Pert was going to be a casualty because he just hasn't panned out and he hasn't been what they expected. I thought he was going to get an injury settlement and be gone, but evidently they want to keep him. So
and they saved maybe that roster spot and see what happens, and maybe he does get released depending on the waiver wire at the 53. But yeah. So
the surprise is no one actually gets cut.
Yeah. But it was interesting about the turf stuff you both were talking about. So if you give me a second. Some interesting stuff. So I did a little research, and I actually posted this earlier. Back in 2013, MetLife was only a few years. They ripped up that original turf and put in the Super Bowl. The NFL committee made them put down another turf, which is very strange. Why would they make them do that? If you notice, the turf from a few years ago was like a dark green. It was almost like an army green, and then now they have this brighter green. So I don't know if it's the same company, but this is actually a newer turf. Probably like 2-3 years ago when that was laid down. But one of the things that I was reading online from a lot of these tech companies that put down the turf is the problems is not necessarily just the turf itself. It's the inlay of the pellets. They become so dense and so restricted that your foot, like you were saying, Craig and Nikki, your foot just gets locked in there and it just can't move, and everything from the ankle up. I don't want to bore anybody, but let me just give you a couple stats here. The NFLPA.
Yeah, bring it.
If you go to the NFLPA website, and I don't know what their source is, they're all for the players, so everything's going to be maybe a little misguided, but this is crazy. This is going back to 2019. 69% higher rate on field turf or artificial grass, foot and ankle. 69% higher rate versus natural grass on artificial turf, foot and ankle.
69% more injuries?
I'm sorry?
69% more injuries?
Yes, more injuries. The 32% higher rate of injuries to the knee on artificial turf versus grass. So I don't know, they didn't list the source, but they did post that on the NFLPA website going back to 2019. The NFL does come in and do a test. They have something called a Clegg test. They basically just test the surface. Is it hard, soft? How does it feel? But I didn't read anything where they actually dig in with a pair of cleats and see if the density of those pebbles or pellets are too dense, because that seems to be a big issue, is that the cleats dig in and they just can't move. When you're on natural grass, you see the turf flying everywhere. Artificial turf, your foot does not get released. But that test, I don't think includes that.
I'm going to go get something for you. I have a brand new pair of Nike Vapors, okay, that I bought my son that he's playing, he's wearing, okay. The Vapors are exactly what you see like Jones, Barkley, Shep wearing. And I'm going to show you what the bottoms of them look. So give me a second, and I'm going to take me 30 seconds to get them for you, because I'm going to show you what I'm talking about between, the difference of the surfaces versus like wearing a cleat now. So give me 1 second. You guys can talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst ourselves.
So, Nikki, I caught the different things you guys were talking about with Beavers and some of the other roster moves. Was there anybody Saturday night or Sunday night that caught your eye?
I think like Evan Neal can shut his haters up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
What was that article that came out? He's the most underwhelming rookie. I mean, I just, I hate the clickbaits. I really, really, really do. Especially when you go to camp and you cover camp. It's like, come on, guys. But,
I mean, they're basing it off of one game. He's going to go through some rookie, ups and downs. I mean, that's crazy.
I know. Yeah, Bachman, he's looked really good too. He's looked great in camp. So, I mean, I think a lot of good things out of the wide receivers for me anyway.
I agree with you. The wide receivers depth looks pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so this is the Nike Vapor, okay? You can see here the front of the shoe is almost like a spandex on top, like a boot, and underneath is the laces. They're actually hidden underneath this boot, right? They're absurdly light, okay? Absurdly light, all right? Okay, but now here's the thing. So this is a football cleat. Very different from a baseball cleat, of course. Very different from a lacrosse cleat. But you can see it's a low-profile molded bottom, okay? Now, my take on it is this. We used to wear turf shoes, and the field turf was what they called AstroTurf. It was basically laid down on concrete with a small foam pad, so you were always on top of the turf, and you'd have like little nubs that would grab into the turf. There were no pellets, you know what I mean? So now you'll find again. This is exactly what Daniel Jones is wearing right now. Is the Nike Vapor, okay? And this is not an endorsement for Nike. I'm just trying to give you an idea of this cleat is probably what 50-60% of players are wearing this Nike, but this here digs into where those pellets are, what Chris told you. And what it does is when it digs in below the surface, it's literally grabbing those rubber grommets. I think they use like ground up tires if you want to know the truth. I think they, make, because they're rubber, right? It impacts around these molded cleats, and it actually digs in and holds them in place because this is below the surface. You're not on top of the surface. You're below the surface. You're actually in the turf. Beavers never stood a chance, regardless. He had a lot of weight on him. Big guys are pushing him around. But when you look at it, it just looks like his leg is locked and it literally just folds in. It literally folds on itself, which is insane. It's a lot of weight on him. But if you're on grass, it's got to give. Maybe, I don't know, but maybe if you had a turf shoe, maybe your foot wouldn't be locked in. Maybe it would slide, because the nubs aren't as deep. So this is what they're wearing. And again, it also depends on the turf because the Giants, the Jets, the Bengals, and the Vikings are using the same turf. This Nike Vapor might be just fine in Arizona or maybe just fine in Dallas or Seattle, but those type of football cleats in MetLife seems to be a problem. And we should have enough data now after X amount of years, as Chris, you alluded to. We should have enough data to say there's something wrong. It may pass all the tests, but we have all the soft muscle injuries, soft tissue injuries, and ACLs. Chris, do you think that the NFL should be questioning something?
They probably should, but they're also in bed with these owners, right? I mean, they kind of protect each other. I mean, it's all about the money. The MetLife wants to have all their events. It comes down to cost. That's the only reason why there isn't natural grass in that stadium. It's the upkeep. It's all the events. It's all the money that's generated from different, things coming through there. But I would think with technology, we went back to 2000 when they had the trays, which was a disaster. You would think 20 years later, the technology is so much better that they can find a way to be able to have this grass, work, the new turf, natural grass work out through a season with two teams. We say two teams play there. They don't practice there. They all have their own facility. So I know the winters, could be a little rough, but you have Pittsburgh and you have Cleveland. You have these other places that seem to manage it, in the winter. Why can't MetLife do that as well?
It's a super interesting topic because like Nikki and I were just talking about a couple of minutes ago, like losing Beavers is a huge deal because I really think he was going to make a difference and I think he was going to win the job, over Crowder. So, and he was going to look like a steal. What was he, a 5th round pick?
6, yeah. Yeah.
6th round
flying
pick.
Around, yeah.
So,
and last thing, Craig and Nikki, I always think of Dominic Hickson, right, when he blew out his knee.
Yeah.
That was like ridiculous how that happened.
Which time he did it twice?
Yeah, the second time with the Rams, against the Rams, when he caught in the back of the end zone
when he was juggling that pass.
Yeah.
I'm looking for this. Our good friend Madge pulled out this spreadsheet today on all the turfs.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, 88% of the NFL uses a different turf. I'm trying to find it. And of course, when you want to find something, you can't. So anyway, that was definitely something. Nobody got cut. Everybody went to pup, which is, I guess good and bad.
And real quick for everybody out there, everybody
yeah.
rips on John Mara, but guess what? The Jets are involved in this too. Everybody says Mara changed the turf. Well, it's not just Mara. The Johnsons,
Woody Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah, the Giants and Jets. It's a decision on both accounts. So we could scream at both, not just the Giants here.
And people also don't, they hate the stadium, which, by the way, folks, I do too. But remember, it's the unions that, kind of strap you when it comes to build that tin can, and when it costs, $2 billion to build that tin can because it's tough to build in New York. It's just tough to build in New York. So I'm looking here. So there's the stats. Vikings, Bengals, Jets, Giants. I'm just looking at what Madge has out here. I mean, the Giants have a total. Okay, you ready for this? Mm-hmm. From 2017 to 2018, games missed due to injury, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vikings, 799. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 seasons. 799 for the Vikings. 987 for the Bengals. 1,229 for the Jets. Ready? And 1,375 for the Giants.
Wow.
They almost double the Vikings.
Yeah.
And the Vikings, like I said, they have the same turf as the Giants. Those 4 teams I just named all share the same turf. Yeah. So the turf could be and feels like it's an issue. I'm hoping they do something about it because it was a big blow to lose him. Okay, next up would be Gano. I know Gano was taken out of the game with a concussion. I haven't heard anything since. Nikki, have you heard anything on Gano since the injury?
I have not. Yesterday, Brian Dable did say he would talk to Joe Shane about bringing in another kicker. They don't want to overwork Jamie. That was as of yesterday afternoon.
How did he get this concussion? Which play?
I don't know. Which play was it?
I think he ran down on the kickoff and was making a tackle. Stuck his head in there on that little kickoff.
He missed the tackle anyway, right?
Yeah, but something he was in pursuit and must have made contact at some point on that long return, the kickoff return. Yeah.
All right, so then let's do this. Who else got injured in the game? Do we know, Chris? Anyone else that got injured in the game?
Let's see who else got injured. So we said we had Beavers, we had Gano, and we had obviously Tibbs. I think other than that, the linemen were okay. I didn't see anybody else.
Nikki, what did you like about the game? Anything stick out to you that positive takeaways from the game? Because I wasn't enthralled with the first string offense because they were playing against second stringers, and I just thought they would have put it to them. But I do feel like they're building, like there's something there, especially in the run game. I think the line has, even with not having Lemieux and not having Feliciano, the line still is a pretty good run blocking line. That stuck out to me. Of course, Sills and Bachman stuck out to me. I was wondering for you, again, preseason doesn't really matter, but anything stick out for you?
Yeah, I actually like the progress the offense is making, right? From the beginning of training camp to now, they're kind of right where I thought they would be. I mean, you guys know you're there all the time as well. So I thought Daniel Jones, he looked pretty good, right? I'm tired of everybody just crapping all over him because, Adoree Jackson intercepted him in practice. It's relax a little bit here. But I was pretty pleased with the offense, right? I thought the wide receivers looked good. No Kenny Galaday. But I'll leave that one alone. I cannot with that. But yeah, Brian Dable said he was happy to see that Jones was playing under control. He was on time. And yeah, this line is coming together. So it's like the pieces of the puzzle are starting to gel, come together a little bit. I think right now that's really what you want to see.
Yeah. I would agree with all. I'm thinking like I would agree on all those points. Like there is some progress.
Yeah.
Maybe the Jones haters could just dial it back for a week. Hey Sarah, hey J Bones. I see Joe B in the room. I see a bunch of you guys coming in now. Thanks for tuning in. Hey Tuto, we see you. See all you guys popping in here. So thanks for tuning in late. I apologize. Had a little technical difficulty. How about Chris? How about on the other side? Anything that jumped out that worried you, like a holy what moment, like one of these?
I got to say, overall, I thought the game was pretty solid. Listen, they put the guy Holden in, who actually never played center, really, a backup who came over. I think he was with the Colts at some point. But anyway, he came over a few weeks ago. They put him at center. Some of his snaps weren't very good, but, he tried his best out there. I'd never really played center in the past, but his snaps were a little bad. Say a little bad. They weren't very good. But I got to say, I was impressed with Jones. I don't know if he was scripted with his plays, but he got rid of the ball. His progressions were better. And I think he went 13 to 16. Our boy Bellinger dropped the pass he probably should have caught, and Sills jumped a little early. So he could have had 2 more catches in there, 2 more completions. But I thought all 3 quarterbacks, a makeshift offensive line, which was going against, 2s and 3s, but they were also 2s and 3s in there besides Neal and Thomas and Glowinski. The other 2 guys, were backups. So I thought all in all, man, I really was impressed with the offense. You could see Bachman and Stills. They found the open zones. I thought they just a little creativeness, even in a preseason game, which I was impressed with. It wasn't even so vanilla in a preseason game. They were constantly moving down the field and guys were open.
I'm gonna pop Spartan Mike in here because he's got a pretty good comment, but it's like it's good for the Jones haters and lovers, and again, good friend of the show. DGB needs to catch the ball. Spartan says, wrong one. Jones had a good game. Hate to see the tip ball of Bellinger. One guy on Twitter was like, yeah, that ball was no good. Look, no, okay. I played slot in college, and my coach would say to me every day, if the ball hits you in the hands, you should have caught it. Okay? And look, we love Bellinger. Like, we're the biggest Bellinger fans on the planet. We interviewed him. You can go to the Giants Guys, YouTube channel. You'll see it there. Great kid, rooting for him. Went off his hands. Didn't make the catch. Whatever it is. Rookie jitters, could be anything.
Yeah. But, and you know what? He went to bed that night and was probably kept him up all night. You know what I mean? It probably bothered the hell out of him. I'm sure he's working hard. He doesn't want that to, he doesn't want to be labeled as a guy that drops balls, and he won't be. One drop pass doesn't define him. So we got to give a guy a break.
Ingram.
Yeah, and I think he wound up with having 2 or 3 more catches.
Yeah.
So Bellinger's going to be fine. I thought Jones looked good. Yeah. I mean, the biggest takeaway would be is that there's definitely no give up in the team. They've now come from behind in 2 straight games. So the backups are playing ball, right? They want to make the team, right? Again, we like Beavers. We're really bummed about that. But I saw Austin Allen make a couple plays, some nice blocks. I love the look, I know they're boys. But David Sills looked awesome. And a personal friend of the show, right? We interviewed Bachman. Like, I've told this, story. It's a great interview, folks. If you have not, and I don't want to give it away, and it's a shameless plug, but that's okay because it's my show. I'm allowed to do that. Go to the Giants Guys YouTube channel and look at the Alex Bachman interview. He's such a cool cat. Got a great background, great story. He balled out. I don't care if it was against 2s and 3s. He balled out, and he was fired up, and he looked good at the end of last year. So, Nikki, does Bachman deserve? Does Bachman and Sills deserve to make this team?
Yes, and I am very high on Sills. I think he has had a fantastic camp. Like, I love what this kid is doing. His chemistry with Daniel Jones has been there since the start of camp, right? And I every week have said, I see the chemistry improving, but it has been there with Sills since the very beginning. Where it's not with is Kenny Galaday.
You had to go there.
I did. I'm sorry. It aggravated. The whole situation's
We're all
aggravated.
aggravated, yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
I'm gonna ask a yes or no question. All right, Chris, did Kenny Galaday suit up for the Bengal game?
He did.
All right.
Might have switched numbers with Colin Johnson because Colin Johnson looked pretty good again.
Nikki, do you know how many? And if not, I'll have Chris look it up. How many snaps did Kenny Galaday get? Does anybody know?
I think it might have been 8.
All right, if it's 8, somebody in the chat.
I think. I heard that.
You people will be like all over this in seconds. Somebody get in the chat and tell me how many snaps Galaday had, because I might throw my computer off the roof because the cat is toast. He has zero value.
Yeah.
If he cannot catch a ball in a Jake says
21.
I'll have to take your word for it, Jake.
21.
He says I'm going to pop this up here. I hope you're going to give me a source here.
Wow. Did he really?
Jay Bone says, wow. Jake Bell, how do I pronounce that? Belanger says, Jake says it's 21 snaps. I mean, what the heck?
Nah, that's terrible.
Sarah says she saw him once. Spartan Mike says Colin Johnson wants a contract. He does want a contract.
Yeah.
Guys, how do we pay $74 million and the guy can't come up with a catch in preseason? Like, come on. Just trade him, cut him. I don't even care. I'm over and I'm done. Like you guys hate Jones, you hate Barkley, you hate everybody. Can you hate Kenny Galaday too?
Yes.
He's come here with nothing but a puss on his face since he got here, and he just does nothing. Okay, how about this? You're going to all cry because it's preseason when. And I guarantee you, in the first game, he'll have, just like last year, first game, he'll have 140 yards, and you'll be like, see, Santucci, you don't know what you're talking about. Guess what'll happen? You won't see him in game 2. Because he'll have a hangnail or a headache or something. The dude is stealing money from this team. Stealing.
He is. That I called it a panic move, and so many people came at me, but it was a Gettleman panic move. I really don't care. I mean, I just, the amount of hate messages I got. Oh, Nikki, you know what you're talking about. You have no idea. You don't understand football. No, I understand a panic move when I see it, and that was the worst signing I've seen in a long time.
$74 million.
Yeah.
So let me ask you people this. If I gave $74 million to 74 different countries, $1 million a piece, we could probably cure world hunger.
That sounds like a much better.
I want you to think long and hard about what I just said. If I gave $1 million to every little country, every little swatch of dirt on this rock, if I gave them all $1 million, I could give 74 countries $1 million. Those kids would be eating chocolate chip ice cream in the jungle. But no. You know what we have? We have this.
Wait, he's his own biggest enemy. You guys saw when I tweeted that out, right? I know you did. He was talking about how he's very hard on himself. He competes with himself every day. He's his own biggest worst enemy. And he said that somebody asked, have the Giants fans seen the real Kenny Galaday? And he said no, because he knows he has a lot to prove.
Now, I will, in his defense, for a second, for a second, I'm going to say this. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
When someone says 50-50, does that not mean that I'm good for 50 of 100%?
You are correct.
So, Chris, if I threw 6 balls at Kenny Galaday, how many would he catch?
Well, according to that, 3.
Exactly. So, in his defense, they're not throwing him the ball. And now, again, you're saying, well, maybe he's not open. He's got no separation. I don't think it matters because he's supposed to be this 50-50 guy. Just throw the ball at me.
They're saving him for Tennessee. 2 more weeks. 3 more weeks.
He said he did have to work on the 50-50 ball.
So we're going to hope and pray this guy does something because my temperament is just on this guy because I can't deal with it anymore. Bachman had a great showing. Sills had a great showing. Colin had a great showing.
Craig and Nikki and everybody, I got to tell you a quick story about Alex Bachman. I went to training camp with my son. The players were going into the building. They were all stopping all the players. Nobody said anything to Alex. My son yelled for Alex. He goes, Alex. He turned around and he smiled. Somebody here, is my family here? He didn't know who the hell called his name. And he came over. He was so cool, man. And I think he was so happy that somebody recognized him and actually acknowledged him, wished him good luck or whatever. But, other than last Saturday night, not too many people knew about Alex Bachman.
No. And I told you, I encourage you to go to the Giants guys and download or go to iTunes or Spotify or whatever your platform is and listen to the Alex Bachman interview we did because you're going to be shocked to know like how he got to New York, that his friend was the bachelor and gave him a place to live, and that he took the train into like a bus every day to get in the stadium early to make an impression on the coaches. And it turned out like Daniel Jones and Eli Manning were already there eating breakfast. And then he went home on the same bus and train to make sure that the traffic dispersed. He thought he would be the last one out of the building, but Eli Manning and Daniel Jones were there. So he ate breakfast and dinner with Eli and Daniel Jones for 2 years.
And think about this. He's a survivor. Shermer brought him in. He survived Shermer. He survived Judge. And now he's here with Dable. I mean, he may not make it to the 53 every year, but he ends up on the practice squad. They bring him up. I mean, and same thing for David Sills, too, a little bit. But, boy, Bachman he's weathered the storm here for 3 seasons.
I know I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this, so just everybody settle down in advance when I say this. But when you think about it, it has all the Victor Cruz like vibe thing going on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So giving him a chance just seems. And by the way, if you look what Shane and Dable do, and if either one of you guys know his name, jump in. But they started off with Cole Beasley being that like scat back, third back, and then they brought another guy in for Buffalo who did the same thing. His name escapes me right now. If anybody knows, just jump in the chat and tell me. But they like those scat backs that can find space. I mean, it's the first time Giants fans actually saw Bachman ball out.
Yep.
So.
And he needed that. He needed a game like that to really, increase his chances to actually make the 53. So that's good.
I hope he does.
All right. How about anything on the defense that you guys, anything that stuck out to you that wow moments or anything? Good or bad? Nikki, anything?
I'm thinking.
Chris?
I guess not, since I can't think of anything.
There's an undrafted player, Ryan Anderson, who made a couple plays, and he's kind of, I think, could be like that cult following of this guy that just came out of nowhere. He made a couple plays the other night, and I think he has a shot to make the team as a depth player.
So how about this one, Ready?
Need depth, especially secondary.
Yeah, well, they always need depth.
And also Tate Crowder. Sorry, Tate Crowder did a heck of a job. I got to give him credit. He played well. I'm not a fan, but he played well Sunday night. He really did. He's better on the edge, not in the middle. Let him fly around. Don't put him in the middle.
Did you see the hit Fox laid on that guy?
Yeah.
Yep.
If you get a chance, go back and watch the play.
Yeah.
It literally looks like he stepped off the sideline. Okay.
That's Wink.
So think how cool this is. They line up this rookie undrafted linebacker or wherever he came from, right?
Actually, Craig came from North Carolina, and that's the one LT talked about earlier in the spring. Watch this guy. So who knows if he makes the team?
Oh.
Yeah.
So they literally tell him to stand on the sideline to prevent no one getting out of bounds. And like, because when you watch the play, you're like, how is he not stepping off the sideline? Like, how did he get there that fast? And you realize Wink's like this, just stand right here.
Just enough.
And literally it played out perfectly because the kid just went up and blasted a hole in that cat.
Yeah.
Like, because Wink was literally like, yo, stand here, run there, hit that guy. It was perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Do you see his parents? How excited his parents were?
No,
I didn't see that.
Oh, you got to watch the video. Oh my God, his parent. It was so cute. Like, I don't have kids, but if that was my kid, I'd probably lose my mind too.
Awesome.
That is cool. Yeah, he totally demolished that guy.
And caused the fumble.
Yeah.
And caused the fumble.
Yeah.
And anytime a back causes fumbles, you got to do push-ups.
That's what you do to those kids, right, Craig?
Yeah. For the record today, Chris, they were dogging at the end of practice. I lined up. I put my hat on backwards, and I said, gassers across the whole field. I said, if I beat this entire team, you're running again. I crushed the entire team.
Really? Bunch of 8th graders. Wow.
So they ran again.
And then the kid says,
You weren't driving, right? You were running. You went on roller skates or rollerblades?
nope. And I said, and after he goes, Coach, he's like, can we race again? I'll take my pads off. I looked at him. I'm like, first of all, I outweigh you by 40 pounds. I'm like, so you can take off your equipment all you want, and it ain't gonna make a difference. And then the other kid goes, Coach, I'll race you after practice. And I went like this. Why? I just beat you. Why would I do it again?
That's right.
So
nice
One
job.
time. That's it. One race. Yeah. That's it. One time.
All right. Talked about cuts. We talked about pup lists. We talked about the turf. I think that, the Bengals had a lot of backups in there.
Yeah.
I think they played a decent game. I like the fight in the team. They didn't give up, right? They stayed in there and made some plays. Here's the biggest storyline that nobody's really talking about. You ready for this? Davis Webb should be the backup quarterback.
Well, I had a feeling one of you were going to say that.
Really, Craig?
Yes. I just didn't know which one. What? Why?
Dude looked great.
No, better than Tyrod Taylor? No, Craig. No.
I'm buying into Davis Webb. He knows the offense. He
sell
looked
that
so
stock. No.
Well, he was against threes, right?
Tyrod Taylor is more comfortable.
Yeah, you gotta go. Come on, Craig.
Come on, you see all the. No, stop. I see it every week. I'm sorry. That is ridiculous. Davis Webb. No, come on.
Going Davis Webb.
Oh, Craig.
Okay, I will roll with Tyrod Taylor, who, by the way, I do think we will end up seeing by week 8. That's my prediction.
No, I'll tell you why.
Why?
You know why?
Why?
Yeah, I know. Spartan Mike's. He's jousting over here. Spartan Mike says, "That's one game. Let's not be too short-sighted." All right. And then he was a smart ass and he gave me the L.
See, but he agrees. Okay, so he's saying by week 6. I'm giving him 2 more weeks. I say by week 8.
I'll tell you why it's not going to happen.
Okay.
They need the New York Giants need to know definitively if they are tagging him, re-signing him, or letting him go. By look, it's the first year of a new team and a new regime. They already know the playoffs are not very highly obtainable. They need to give this kid an opportunity to play, and literally play himself out of the job. By week 6, unless you've lost every single game, 42-0, he's going to continue to get the opportunity because they want to be able to say, all you folks wanted, we need to see if he can play. We need to see if he can play. Well, the only way you can see if he can play is if he's on the field. If you yank him because you lose 17-13, you still didn't prove anything. Can he come back? Can he win? Can he raise up the level of the locker room? I don't see it happen. It's actually a probably good fantasy bet, which we will talk about.
Can he stay healthy? I mean, maybe
I
Nikki's
think it's
alluding
an
to that. Can he
injury
stay
thing.
healthy?
Yeah,
He
Chris,
might be
I
in by
do.
week 8.
I think it's an injury thing. I don't think it's a yanking thing. Not like a yank Eli Manning to look at Geno Smith. I don't think it's that, which broke my heart. It's not that. I think that he's just not going to stay healthy.
I think you're right, Nikki. We have yet to see, and I'm rooting for Jones, but he has yet to play a full season.
Yeah, thank you. So what basis do you have to say that he can make it through the whole season? I mean, you can't.
I have faith in the Lord above.
I'm trying.
That was like totally out of left field. This is not a religious show. So, okay. Jones may get hurt. Who knows? But we have a better offensive line. Okay. Nikki, did you see what Saquon Barkley said today?
No. Sorry.
Chris, did you see what Saquon Barkley said today?
I did not.
Enlighten us.
So Saquon Barkley said he doesn't give a effing beep about what anybody says. He's more motivated now than ever to have a great year. Last year was out of his control, and he is done listening to any of the outside noise. He's ready to have a fantastic year. And if I can find the quote for you, but it has F-bombs in it.
Even better.
So
Chris, what do you think about Barkley having Jay Bowen says angry Saquon incoming? I agree.
Yeah.
He is angry. So Chris, is he going to have a great year, or is he just going to have an okay year?
No, he's going to have a great year. He's going to have a great year for 2 reasons. The offensive line's improved, and this system is going to be advantageous for him, especially out of the backfield. He caught 91 balls with Shermer, that offense. I think this is going to be along those lines. Maybe not 90, but I'm looking for him to catch about 70 balls out of the backfield, rush for over 1,000 yards.
I'm going to play this for you, see if you guys can hear it.
I feel like I'm back. I feel like I'm better, to be completely honest. I'm older now. I'm 25. I've been through some stuff, ups and downs. And now I'm in a situation where, you know me, I always have the mindset of always being counted out. But now it's actually here. It's actually real. People are really counting me out. People are trying to write me off. And I don't really do it for the pleasure of others or making other people satisfied. I do it because I just want to be great. But now I have that extra motivation to push me to go out there and kind of just be like, you know what, shut everyone up. Because last year it was more like, dang, the game was taken away from me. I never had a season when I didn't go and play football. Now it's kill mindset. Now it's like, you know what, everybody, like I'm ready to go crazy. And I'm let the world feel me.
Awesome.
I love that.
That is number 26, Saquon Barkley, saying he don't give a bleep. So, there is an opportunity and for him to have a great year. He's got a great attitude, and I don't know if he gets paid. I don't know anything about it, but I'll tell you one thing. I don't think he will be the reason the Giants lose this year.
Yeah.
I think he will definitely be on the winning side of things, but you need all the pieces to fall in place, right?
Yep.
Okay.
He's gonna have a big year. Comeback year is coming.
All right. So the Giants beat the Bengals at home. We lose a couple guys to injury. Team is starting to gel. I think, Nikki, you alluded to, all those clickbait stuff about Neal, and then he came out and had a great day. A couple unsung heroes in the wide receiver room had a great day.
Sorry, Craig. Special teams wasn't great. I forgot to bring that up. Special teams wasn't that good,
except for Board's big return, right?
Yep.
And then it got called back on a holding call.
Right. And they gave up a few returns too.
Yep. So last question, and we're going to move on to fantasy because I know you guys want to know about fantasy because I hate fantasy. That's why I brought her on, because she's now, if you don't know this, out there in Rushland, whether you're listening live or you're cruising through or you're listening tomorrow. We're on Amazon Music. We're on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, and all those great platforms. Nikki is now part of the Rush team, and we are going to be doing a whole bunch of cool stuff, including fantasy. I'm not a fantasy guy. I can't root for the Eagles tight end I can't root for the Cowboys defense and those type of things. So I'm a little short-sighted that way because it's $1 billion business. I get it. So we're going to get into that in a second. The last question I have roster-wise, Chris, I'll start with you, is Carter Coughlin going to make the team now that Beavers is down? Because if you watch the game, it's the first time I've seen Coughlin in 4 or 5 different positions. He was on the inside, outside, with his hand in the dirt, rushing from the outside. You know, he was everywhere. Does Carter Coughlin make the team?
I think he does. I think he does now because he's a player I think Wink could use. Put him on the edge, put him in the middle, with Blake or for Blake. Because I think a lot of times you're going to see 3 in the front, and you're going to see like a 3-3-5. With a lot of nickel dime, on those passing downs. So I think he does make the team. I do, and I think Micah McFadden makes the team. So maybe there'll be some help there in the middle.
Yeah,
Blake.
I'd be tough to see them cut a 4th round pick, and I think Coughlin has come a long way. I think you need someone to figure out how to use them. All right, Nikki.
Yeah.
Let's talk some fantasy.
Yeah.
Fantasy Island.
Not what some of you have sent me in my DMs. It's just
I know. You guys
dial that back a little bit, everybody. Just
you guys don't be pervs and don't be creepy. Okay. I already dialed back. I was going to give her own show and her own segment, and it was like going to be called Sleeping with Nikki and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, no.
Wow, we're walking the edge there.
Yeah, you guys are all a bunch of knuckleheads, and we need you to. Yeah, but the girl knows fantasy. I don't. That's why she's here, and you're not. So, okay, let's start off by this. Is it wise to draft a bunch of players that you like?
No.
Okay. Is it wise to be in more than one league?
It depends on the league, right? It kind of depends what type of drafts you have. It depends maybe how much money you're playing for. I've found myself in like 4 or 5 this year, which is a little much for me, but I forgot that I said yes to somebody, and they were like, "Hey, Nick, the draft." I was like, "Oh, okay, shoot. I guess I'm in, but you know what? That's okay." But I would say like maybe keep it to like 1 or 2 major ones that you like.
Okay. All right. So what's the overall strategy, when it starts off all right, I'm a novice. I don't do it. Or I have done it, but I haven't done it in years. I kind of gave up on it, started costing me too much money for transactions and stuff. What's the best strategy to have? If I'm getting into a league right now, and with me and my buddies or something, like, what's the strategy that works the best?
Well, what I usually do is I stock up on running backs and wide receivers. And you have to keep in mind that you're not going to win your league with your first 1 or 2 picks, right? Everybody's going to get that all-star player. You're going to win your league much later in the draft. And for me, it's all about those value picks, right? Those are going to be the guys that maybe aren't your week 1, 2, 3 starters, but you're going to want them come week 10, 11, and 12. So that's usually the strategy that I use. And I hope nobody in my podcast league is listening to this because we draft live on the 1st.
Oh,
and I'll get really mad.
All right, so we will move on from your personal personal.
No, but that's the best strat. And don't reach. You don't need to reach. Don't reach for a quarterback. You don't need to do that.
Okay, so I'm assuming you took a bunch of questions from Giants fans over the last week because we're going to do fantasy every other week. Maybe we even we give Nick your own show, but I know you guys want fantasy info, and I'm just like this. No. So I brought in the pro who has an idea. So what, Nikki, right now, what's my best bet? Is there a Giants player that is in like the best bet category?
Well, I am very high on Saquon. I know you guys, a lot of people saw my video about why I spent 2 minutes explaining why somebody should take Saquon Barkley, because I do think that the comeback is coming. Like we have been saying, yes, he's running his lateral, but he is doing this one cut up the middle, and he's got some real power running behind him, explosive. The speed is back. Also, Wan'Dale Robinson, right? I got a ton of questions about rookies that I should take. I am very high on Wan'Dale Robinson. Listen, as much as we say the Giants wide receiving core is talented, they're inconsistent. So I think he is going to assert himself in this offense. He's the kind of receiver that Brian Dable really loves, that Cole Beasley shifty type, So I'm pretty high on Wan'Dale Robinson. So those two players on the Giants for me.
And Robinson strikes me, Chris, as a guy who they packaged up and they're not really rolling out the plays. So again, if you're in a league, I think Nikki's advice on Robinson, if you're looking to buy, if you're like me, you want to draft all Giants because you just can't stomach other teams' players on your team. But I know that's not reality. But her point is hey, Robinson's going to fly under the radar. Chris, they're not showing the offense is installed, but they're not showing their cards.
No, especially the other night on Sunday night, not much at all with Wan'Dale. No. And
do you agree with me that it's because they're just trying to keep him under wraps, not show too much?
Maybe that, and also they want to see some of the other guys like Richie James and Bachman in there because they know what Wan'Dale can do. And maybe it's an injury thing. They already have Tony down, and it's very strange why he didn't get a little bit more on Sunday.
Tony's hurt. Oh my God!
So Nikki, we shouldn't take Tony at any point.
No. Which just makes the point, right? That core is either always injured or inconsistent. Right, so just making my point.
Yep.
I can't go on with this Tony thing.
The computer is going to go out the window, right?
I know.
Craig's computer is just going
to. You got to love football. All right. What were some other questions that you got? You got a couple lined up, Nikki, that came from that or no?
Yeah, I do. So like I said, a lot of people were, almost everybody, and they all asked to stay anonymous, so I won't call them out. But everybody wants to know about rookies. So quickly in the instance of time, but you guys can DM me. I'll give you more detail on that. Alec Pierce, I've been high on him because Matt Ryan loves that second option wide receiver. He turns them into production machines. And by the way, these are going to be people that, again, you're probably not starting them week 1, 2, 3, 4, right? This is going to be a little bit later when the injuries pile up and these guys start to assert themselves. Calvin Austin, Pittsburgh, he's in a boot. But I know Matt Canada is going to find a way to get him going in this offense. He said he's just waiting for Mike Tomlin to give him the okay. Jalen Tolbert, John Dotson, I think they're pretty equal. Jalen Tolbert, for me, he's playing on a better offense with the Cowboys, but I think you can go either way with them. Let's see, who else? Oh, and I love, what's his name? Isaiah Likely, you guys, out of Baltimore, the rookie tight end. Mark Andrews probably not going to be there when you want him to, but this kid, is super productive. So they're definitely going to use him. I would say take a chance on him as well.
He had a great game
yes.
Last night. I was actually kind of shocked because Mark Andrews is a stud.
Yeah.
I was really shocked that they drafted him because he's more of a wide receiver than he is a tight end. I'm hoping they can coexist together, because one's like the big bruiser who makes the big tough catch, and the other one's more shifty, and can get up the sideline. He's a vertical route runner. So that's a good pick. All right, folks. So you have now some sleepers. You have some starters. Okay, last question, Nikki. Anything out of the ordinary that, certain leagues, is there one guy that maybe was comeback player of the year and people forgot about him? Is there anyone that's a complete sleeper under the radar? Is there one guy over any other guys that right now you can let people know and they'll be oh, I'm going to win my league if I get this guy? Is there an ultra sleeper? I guess the word would be
an ultra sleeper. I'm not going to call this guy a sleeper per se, because he's not, but Devonta Smith, if you guys can get him, he's not going very quickly in any of these drafts. So I'm not going to say he's a super deep sleeper, but people aren't high on him because they're not really high on Jalen Hurts. And listen, it hurts me to say I think the Eagles are going to have a really good year. But with the addition of Brown, I'm sorry, he's going to get those one-on-one opportunities, so he's going to get most of the targets. So listen, don't forget about Devonta Smith. Listen, I hate it. I don't want to say it. I'm sorry.
We do too.
Okay.
We hate it too.
Craig's like, this is your last show, Nikki. Get off. Never again.
Jalen Hurts can't hit the side of a barn with a bazooka. Okay, so
but he does against the Giants sometimes.
Yeah, right. No matter. He'll have career day against us.
Jalen Hurts looked terrible against the Giants.
Okay, Devonta Smith had a 21% target rate on a run-heavy team. That was the most of any team. So it's just going to go up from there.
That's why we brought her on there, folks. Right there.
Wow, good job, Nikki.
That was
awesome.
I just needed to wind her up a little bit. That's all.
I've been wound up all day. I mean, like, we don't need any more.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us. I know
Yes.
We were a little bit late to the show. Greatly apologize, for that. Like again, I had everything went dark and black and it was like and I had nothing. So I took a little while to boot everything up. Thanks for hanging out with us. Tuto and Joe and J Bones and Spartan, which is he's all in here with a ton of them, and Sarah and Tom, and I'm going through here. Oh, I missed you, Carlos. I apologize. I hope you didn't roll. I see Carlos is still in here. I apologize for missing you. Jake, thanks, guys. Of course, Spartan Mike, because he's crushing it. Oh, Joe Becker. Yeah, a lot of guys in here. Chris, a lot of guys in here that I didn't see. Thanks all for hanging in. Housekeeping stuff. One, of course, we're brought to you by Astro Flav. Please check those out. If you are looking for a supplement, a shake, a meal replacement, whether you do CrossFit, whether you do, any type of sport, or maybe you're just cranking plates, it is the best tasting shake on the planet. Okay. I'm not lying to you. It is fantastic. I use it. Chris is like all jacked, so he's using it.
Yes, you are, Chris.
No.
Chris has got like 21-inch biceps.
Yeah.
But, they got some cool products for you ladies. They got collagen and they got amino acids. They got all sorts of cool stuff, and it all tastes good. Secondly, nygiantsrush.com. Check that out. Plenty of awesome content up there. If you get a chance to do that. Guys, I'm begging you. I don't beg a lot. That's one thing I don't do, but I'm begging right now. I'm begging you guys to do two things. One, subscribe. Hit the button, okay? It helps us out tremendously, okay? If you want to support the show, buy some swag, buy some merch, okay? Go to nygiantsrush.com. Check out the team store. The Leonard Marshall shirts are in there. We're trying to raise money for the Leonard Marshall Foundation, which the money goes to making college campuses more secure, more safe for all different types of people. Okay. But I need your help buying these shirts because I need to raise the money. Why did we make them? Because he's going into the the Ring of Honor, almost the Hall of Fame, which he could be a down the road. Ring of Honor on the 26th against Dallas. We have all these great Leonard Marshall shirts, all signed. They got them all autographed. Just go in the Rush store, buy one and support it. The money's going to proceeds going to the Leonard Marshall Foundation for safety on college campuses. Last but not least, one more thing.
Oh, Craig, I want one more thing when you're done, too.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You want me to go?
I was going to say one more thing. I don't beg twice in one show, so this is like a record happening right now. Please go to YouTube. Check out the Kurt Warner interview that we did on Friday. We're very proud, of the work that we're putting in for you folks. We're super psyched to have Kurt Warner hang out with us. And I will leave you with this. If you haven't seen it, you want to watch it purely on the fact he had an exit interview when he was leaving the Giants, and Tom Coughlin asked him to do something, and you need to watch the interview to get the answer, because it is priceless to know what happened during the exit interview and then years later. So Kurt Warner is a great cat. Please check out, American Underdog, which is basically the movie about his life. And, thanks for hanging out with us. Chris, you wanted to jump in here.
Yeah. Next Tuesday is going to be a fun show for whoever's on and everybody that comes in, because you got to get down to 53 players next Tuesday. So we're going to see a lot of giant cuts this week, or after the weekend. And, we do have to fill some spots. And so there's going to be a lot of players out there on the waiver wire that Giants are going to be looking to fill some spots. So that 53 may not be the 53 for week 1, but there's definitely be a lot of player movement next week, which I think you guys are going to have a fun show. We're going to have a fun show.
Yeah, long as my power stays on, we'll be a fun show. We're also coming up for episode 100, okay? Episode 100 of the Giants Guy is coming up. I'm trying to come up with some surprises for you folks that day because basically, you've been with us for the whole ride. So please follow the team, Nikki, Chris, Zane, Spartan, Mike, John. Follow all the guys on the Rush team. Check out the Kurt Warner interview. Drop into the comments. Respond. Let us know you liked it, you hated it. Hey, look, we got plenty of negative comments. We got plenty of positive comments. Comments are great. Let's debate. Let's have fun. Let's root these guys on. Let's win some games. You know what I mean? And for once, welcome Nikki to the crew. I'm pointing over there like she's sitting next to me. Yes, we're going to do more fantasy. She gave you a bunch of cool stuff that I wasn't really prepared for. So she gave you a bunch of cool stuff. Run with that. One guy said today, Chris, I love you. He says on the thing, I go, you love me? I love you too. He's like, oh, I mean, Nikki. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of love. A lot of love for Team Rush.
lot of love, not necessarily for me. But anyway,
they love your hair. They love your hair.
It's under the hat because it's all sweaty and gross. But I love you folks. We do this because it's our passion. We get to talk about Giants football and give you guys, everything we do. NYGiantsRush.com. Leonard Marshall shirts, 20 unsigned, 35 signed. I sent the video out. I got them all signed already. So, we're definitely going to give a couple away. And then I'll also bring a box, of course, for you late stragglers. I'll bring some at the game. Chris and I will be, hanging out at L2. That's the spot to be. Why? Because I have the baddest tailgate on the planet. With
Craig, I might be at J19. We'll have to talk. I don't know. That first game, I may not be there with you. So anyone that can make it L2, head over to J19. We'll see you there too. They can go back and forth.
Wow.
I have the first game. I got to be at that spot, but I'll see you at the Cowboy game.
He's just supposed to be my friend.
What do you think, Nikki?
Wow.
I love you, Craig, but the first game I might have to be at J19.
Okay, so for the record, my chef is the Red Bulls chef, and we eat filet mignon for dessert, and Chris gets no.
Well, tell them, Craig, they got the video. They all have to see the video. It's amazing. That video is fantastic with the chef on YouTube.
Yeah, there is a chef. There is a chef on the Giants YouTube channel you can check out if you're scrolling through it. I can't remember what it's called, but the Giants actually produced it for me, and it looks kick-ass. So you can learn about how we've had the same 40 people for 62 years, and we crush it just like you folks crush it. Let's all get along. Let's root for our team, right? Go Big Blue. All right, Berber. Thanks for hanging out and watching another episode. That's Nikki. That's Chris. You know me, the podcast you love to hate. I'm Craig, and I will be back at 8 o'clock next week with a whole bunch of new folks that you know, named Zane and Spartan Mike and the Truth. Can't forget the Truth. And we'll crank this up again, guys. Peace out.